Hello, welcome. Welcome. This is the global community for adults who are healing CPTSD. My name is Athena, and I'll be facilitating our time together tonight. We have all been showing up here together for about 10 years now. And we get together about once a week and we check in with one another. We share what's been working in our healing journey, and we also share what hasn't been working. It's kind of a nice place to check in, say hello. And what we've been doing over the past couple of years, we have some guided breath work, or we have some co-regulation. We breathe together. We do some gentle stretches. We also have a meditation written by Morgan Harper Nichols. Her artwork is what you see up on the screen. We have a compassionate healing strategy written by Dr. Ariel Schwartz. And we also have a Loving the Self affirmation written by Lisa A. Romano. I've been bringing a quote every week written by Young Pueblo, and his most recent book titled The Way Forward. And everybody seems to like that, so I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. I was having some audio issues and I rebooted and wanted to make sure that I logged on so that I can make sure everything's working. So if you can hear me okay, please let me know. And I just want to pause and warmly welcome everyone who's here for our weekly time together. So very warm welcome and a special thank you to John Harvey and Ninja Taco, our moderators who are keeping our chat feed a safe enough place for all of us to gather together. They will moderate the chat stream as needed. And a very warm welcome to everyone else who is here. Hello, warm welcome to you, Tepin and AJ, Mary and Hattie, Rain Justice and Candida and Lisa and Kitty. Kitty says, hello, I'm new here. We warmly welcome you. We're so glad to meet you. Oh, I'm so glad that the volume is good. Thank you. So I warmly welcome you to our time together. Again, we'll do some guided breath work, some gentle stretches. We have a meditation, an affirmation, a compassionate healing strategy, and we have a quote. Warm welcome to you, Lori. Lori says, hello, family. Hello to you, family. You all are my family, my friendly family of choice. Thank you for choosing to be here. So before I forget, we have a new link. We have our CPTSD Awareness Month coming up in September. And I'm so excited. This year's topic for Awareness Month is reclaiming our sensuality and sexual autonomy after abuse. And we have some incredible speakers. I don't know if you all are familiar with Marley Liss. But she is going to be speaking this year. She has 2 presentations. One is on reclaiming our sensuality and sexual autonomy. And we have another presentation from her all about restorative justice. And I'm really excited. We also have a speaker from Australia. His name is Graham Robinson. We have another speaker from Germany. Her name is Chris. And we also have a whole bunch of resources that are going to be in our curiosity and compassion cabinet. And then with all of the different speakers and presentations that are going to be happening, we have anyone who decides to attend CPTSD Awareness Month. We have our wristbands, of course, which are there year-round, but for anyone that attends and chooses to buy a ticket to attend all of these different events, you have access to every single previous year of all of the speakers: Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, Dr. Ramani Durvasula, Dr. Ariel Schwartz, Gretchen Schmelzner, Dr. Gretchen Schmelzer, Annie Wright, Robin Brickell, Cindy Bennett. My goodness. There are so many. Katie Morton, for those of you who are super fans of Katie Morton, like myself. So yeah, it's very exciting. And I think one of the things I'm most excited to tell you about this year's 2024 CPTSD Awareness Month, so many of you have shared with me that your therapists and your practitioners are not necessarily trauma informed, and you haven't had a helpful and supportive experience. Like, your therapeutic experience has not felt therapeutic. And I just have to thank you all for being so brave and sharing that with me, because for the first year ever, this is our 5th year of CPTSD Awareness Day and Awareness Month. But for the first time ever, we are offering continuing education. We have a presentation specifically designed for practitioners who want to help their patients and their clients to reclaim their sensuality and their sexual autonomy after abuse. And it's really, really, really exciting that we are able to provide continuing education for all social workers in America and many people actually globally. So I couldn't be more excited and humbled and honored and grateful, and it's really exciting. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to all of that. And I'm going to go ahead and just invite you to get a little bit more comfortable than you were when you arrived. Perhaps grab a pillow to support your posture. Perhaps grab a glass of water or a beverage that you would find soothing. And we will begin with some breath work together. And I think one of the most helpful things that I can share with you about breathing and just breath work in general is, if it doesn't feel helpful and supportive to you personally in your unique healing journey, then please always just skip it. For so many survivors of complex PTSD, for so many adults who are healing CPTSD, any type of breath work can feel anxiety producing. And rather than slowly breathing and lowering the heart rate and activating that parasympathetic nervous system, it actually has the opposite effect. It can be very counterproductive. It can be anxiety producing, and it can elevate your heart rate. And if that is the case with you, please know that you can skip our breath work together. As soon as we are done with our breath work, we'll go ahead and we'll have our quote, our meditation, our healing strategy, and our affirmation. And as always, as with every week, we have a theme. And our theme this week is welcoming small changes. And so our journal prompt is, what does welcoming small changes look like for you? We can definitely talk about that as soon as we do our breath work together. Perhaps later on when we're having an open discussion. Okay? So, as we get started, as always, I'll describe my setup for you. I'm sitting in what has become my new favorite workspace. My feet are propped up out in front of me. I have a pillow supporting my posture. And we will begin our breath work together. So 2 of the most effective ways to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, also known as our rest and digest. Number 1, co-regulating with other mammalian nervous systems while in a room, either physical or virtual, like this. And also slow breathing. So here we are, doing 2 of the most impactful ways to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And just as a reference, your sympathetic nervous system is where your fight and flight response resides, where your trauma response resides. And when we are able to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, we are able to come out of our fight or flight, come out of our trauma brain, and we're able to get back into the body. And it's very, 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 very common when our bodies start to feel safe and we start to activate our parasympathetic. It's very common for us to yawn, like a nice big yawn. So, as we get started, I want to invite you to lift your arms up towards the sky, up toward the ceiling, just with a gentle stretch. And when you feel ready, bring them back down and allow them to just fall gently and casually and comfortably wherever feels the most comfortable for you. We're going to do the 4-7-8 breath. So that means we're going to breathe in for 4 counts. We're going to pause for 7 counts. We're going to breathe out for 8 counts. And we're going to do that 4 times together. I will count us in on our first breath together and on our 4th breath together. And we will be on our own for our 2nd and 3rd breath together. Remember, if you feel the urge to yawn, this means that you may have moved from your sympathetic nervous system, where your fight or flight resides, and into your parasympathetic. It means we're feeling just a little bit safer. So let us begin in 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 3, 2, 1. Pause. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're doing great on your own now. Again. Last time together now. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Pause. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Well done. Excellent breath work. Well done. Great job. How are you feeling? Was anyone able to get any yawns? I had so many. Yes, Mary says yawns galore. Yes, when we extend that exhale longer than the inhale, it's really, really helpful for us to be able to activate our parasympathetic. You are so welcome. Absolutely, you're welcome. I'm so glad. Likewise, yes. So grateful. Wonderful. So, our quote from Young Pueblo this week, he's doing one of those things again where he gives us a little bit of a map, like a framework, if you will. So if anyone is a note taker or would like to write something down or put it in the chat box, this is a bit of a map or a framework for what Young Pueblo is calling conscious living. And just for reference, when we are in our subconscious, it's when our trauma brain is driving the bus, right? But when we are conscious, we are actually able to feel empowered and make decisions. So I feel like the way I'm reading this quote is Young Pueblo sharing with us his map for coming out of our trauma brain and into our healing brain, or as he's putting it, coming out of the unconscious living and into conscious living where we feel empowered, like we have the power of choice. And he says on page 168, asked her, "How do you love yourself well?" And she answered, "Make your well-being and healing a top priority. Have the courage to create boundaries that will support your flourishing. Listen closely to your intuition. Respect your need for rest. And connect with people who are emotionally available. Being intentional with your life is loving yourself well." I love that. He makes it sound so simple. And perhaps it is simple, and yet simple does not mean easy. Right? I love that. Oh, yes, Emily says, "Athena, what page?" This is page 168 from Young Pueblo's book titled "The Way Forward." I love that. It's a bit of a map, right? It's a framework. I'm always so grateful for those types of insights. Like someone who's gone before us and who's done the healing work. And I know from reading his books that he has lived through trauma, relational trauma. And yet here he is, sharing his healing with each of us. I feel honored. Our meditation, written by Morgan Harper Nichols, again, all about welcoming small changes. Welcoming small changes. What does welcoming small changes look like for you? Morgan says, when you find yourself facing new unknowns, may you remember you are free to explore how to carry on through this season with new approaches, one day at a time. And even when you feel pressured to move faster, to keep up with others or keep up with your own expectations, may you remember that on the days when you are moving a little slower, or it takes a little longer to overcome a fear, it doesn't mean you will not be able to come alive right here, where you are. A new approach can be the smallest, most gentle shift. And it can often begin with the simplest idea that arises after you've realized you're wanting a change. In a moment where you've accepted that you don't have it all figured out this might look something like, I'm willing to try. Or when you've realized you don't have all the answers for something and you decide, I am learning as I go. Or in the moment where you free yourself from needing to have every detail of what the next 10 years will look like, you can exhale. I am pacing myself through this. May you pay attention to the moments where you find yourself reflecting these kinds of sentiments, and may you let them be indications that even amidst the pressure, that you are free to begin a new approach. This first step of awareness matters. It matters more than you know. May you let this be permission to exhale before you begin again. And please remember, it's okay if it takes time to explore what new approaches even means for you in daily life. These can be small changes or drastic shifts, depending on where you are in your life right now. For some, welcoming small changes or a new approach, it might happen in subtle moments throughout the day. And for others, it may be a series of major transformations taking place. Wherever you find yourself, may you breathe deep when you start to notice the shifts, and may you pace yourself into new shifts however you can. And whatever makes you think, I need a new perspective on this, or I need to try something new. May you consider that as the space where you can begin to just try without the pressure of figuring it all out at once. You do not need to have everything figured out to start trying something new. The act of exploring in and of itself is valuable. So when it's time for a change in your life, may you allow yourself to gain a new perspective by welcoming small changes that can grow into new possibilities with time. Slow breath in. Well done. Well done. I love Morgan. She really gets me, you know? I feel like young Pueblo gets me too, you know? And Dr. Ariel, she's just magnificent. So if you remember last week, We are on the compassionate healing strategy of mindfulness of the here and now. Dr. Ariel, her invitation to us is acknowledging, mentally acknowledging, and considering that we might be safe right here in this room together on YouTube at 7:31 p.m. Eastern. However, Dr. Ariel says, it is important to ensure that you are indeed safe. So if you are currently living in a threatening environment, you need to realize that the feeling of fear is essential for your self-protection and your boundaries. And the first thing to focus on is getting safe. However, if you are suffering, like so many of us that live with CPTSD, if you are suffering from anxiety or the anxious presentation of CPTSD related to your childhood trauma, and you are currently in a safe situation, then you can consider using this strategy to engage your senses so that you can let go of unnecessary fear. You do not need to practice every day or even all of these invitations at one time or do them in any specific order. Please allow yourself to experiment and discover what works best for you. So first, let us pause. Just take a look around. Notice any details in your space that you are in. Are there any visual cues that can serve as reminders that you are safe here, right now? Is there an item, like a plant or a piece of artwork or a piece of furniture, something you find pleasant? Can you notice how it feels to move your head and your eyes as you look around your space? Remembering to breathe. Next, consider saying to yourself some soothing words such as, I am safe now, or I am okay. What does it feel like to speak these words out loud in a gentle and loving tone? Notice how it feels to hear your voice speaking with kindness. Next, consider bringing one hand up to your heart space or over to your opposite arm. Notice how it feels to gently touch your heart space or your arm with your hand. Notice Notice the feel of your skin under your palm. Notice the temperature, the warmth or the coolness of your palm against your heart space or your arm. Allow yourself to breathe slowly. Next, our invitation is to take a sip of the water or the beverage that you got at the beginning of our time together. Just take a sip. And sense the feel of your beverage in your mouth. Sense the back of your teeth or the roof of your mouth with your tongue. And notice any taste or temperature of your beverage. And last, let us just pause and just be with our breath. Just taking a few slow breaths together. Just focusing on the rise and fall of your belly. Noticing the sensation in your body. Or perhaps just the feel of air moving across the tip of your nose. How does that feel? There are many additional ways that we can use our senses to increase our mindfulness of the here and now and bring us back into our body. Some of the examples that we've talked about here on this channel before are listening to a soothing piece of music or holding a rock in your hand and noticing the texture and the temperature of the rock or touchstone. You can get as creative as you would like in this process. Most importantly, if any sensory experience is upsetting to you or uncomfortable or dysregulating, you can always switch to another sensory exploration until you experience a feeling of ease in the body and mind. And this is just part of what it might look like to welcome small changes. And keeping with our theme of welcoming small changes, Lisa's invitation for us is to glance at our boundaries, our interpersonal boundaries. Lisa says, sometimes we, as trauma survivors, we can have very weak boundaries, where perhaps we don't know where our feelings begin or end in relation relationship to others. We might feel responsible for how others think and feel. Or, on the opposite end of the spectrum, sometimes our boundaries are way too rigid. Sometimes we can refuse to let anyone in. And because trauma survivors can lack healthy boundaries and either feel enmeshed with others or fear being suffocated by others, we can sometimes fail at creating true intimacy in our relationships. We might even feel alienated from others and even alienated from ourselves. But here's the small change that we're welcoming. Are you ready for it? Lisa says, for today, what if I can trust myself to take care of me? What if I can work on trusting others too? And what if I can even work on not trusting those who have proven themselves untrustworthy? How's that for some small changes? These are some great ideas that we got today from Young Pueblo, Morgan Harper Nichols, Dr. Ariel, Lisa. I hope you enjoyed all of the resources today. I hope you enjoyed being here as much as I love being here with you. Thank you all so much for choosing to show up for you today. Welcoming small changes isn't always easy because sometimes we can feel stuck and frozen and paralyzed and we don't even know where to begin, right? So wherever it is you find yourself, please just know that I see you. And I'm so grateful that you've chosen to be here. You continue to show up for yourself and here with all of us every single week. And as I mentioned last week, today is our 500th video together, which is why I was so excited to announce all of our CPTSD Awareness Month celebrations with you today. You can learn more about the CPTSD Awareness Day and Awareness Month and all the wristbands and you can learn all about here. Let me get the link. It's in the description section of the video, but here you go. There you go. As soon as you click, it should take you, there should be a little pop-up that says, if you want to learn more about CPTSD Awareness Day, reclaiming our sensuality and sexual autonomy after trauma, after abuse. So all you have to do is click and it should sign you up, I think. So, but if you don't click it, you won't receive any information. So thank you all so much for choosing to be here today. I consider it such an honor to heal right beside you. And 10 years together, here we are. I feel like I'm a completely different person now than I was 10 years ago. It's quite a commitment to choose to show up for ourselves every single week, almost every week for 10 years. But it's because of you that I have been able to hold myself accountable. I never wanted to let any of you down, so I continued to show up week after week, month after month, year after year. And here we are, a decade together. So thank you. Thank you for being you. If I don't see you over in our community off of social media, then I will see you right back here next Monday and every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. But in the meantime, please be extra kind and patient and gentle with yourself, because you're worth it. And I'll see you soon. I love you all so much. Good night, everyone.